Yo, what's going on? This is the JMC Podcast. My name is Felix C. Arroyo. I am the journeyman. I am the host. And this is where we maintain focus and stay continuous through all 4 seasons. I hope you are excited and ready for yet another interview right here, where the orange chairs come together, where the bright lights turn on, and where we start talking about some things that are oh so dear to us. This week's episode is no different. I'm talking to my man SaQuan Hicks, who hit me up through social medias by way of my boy Marquise Lupton. Shout out to you, sir, Mr. Lupton. Introduced me to SaQuan. SaQuan's a football coach with different levels, different age groups with the youth. And he has coached at various different places, from Baltimore to here in Lancaster, Harrisburg area, to down south, Virginia. He's going wherever he needs to. But the road to get there wasn't really easy for him. And we talk about that. And pretty much the lifestyle that he once lived, how he changed to get to where he is now. He uses that experience to really push the youth that he coaches now, so that they don't have to have that type of experience. So, he's a no holds barred type of coach. You don't play no games. He's very respectful, mad cool. And we talked about some other dope shit. Like, we actually talked about frequency and like listening to different frequencies to put us in a mood. It completely caught me off guard. And so I was happy that we got into that. And let's just get right into it, shall we? This right here is SaQuan's journey, and these are the Journeyman Chronicles. Let's go. It's my first interview that I'm not using headphones.
Okay.
Because I decided today, I was doing some editing. I've been using headphones in all of my video content. But every now and then when I'm editing, I'm like, man, I don't like the way these headphones look. I like the way they sound.
Right.
So I decided to remove the headphones. So I wanted to be more of an organic conversation. I feel like the headphones kind of like reminded somebody that they were kind of in an interview or as opposed to like just a general conversation. It's bad enough with the lights and the cameras, but nonetheless, I appreciate you reaching out to me. So I'm trying to go back now. I think it was Marquise Lupton that got us acquainted. How do you and Marquise know each other?
I just know him through Facebook.
Oh, word, okay.
Pretty much just seen a lot of stuff he was doing.
Yeah.
So I kind of just sent him a friend request, and then from there we kind of just been pretty much cool. I saw him share your podcast.
Okay.
I seen him asking about people, so I reached out to him.
Word. Okay, so that's how it happened, because I just took it from Marquise right then and there. I never really found out how that happened, and I'm always interested in that, because this is a pretty cool experience for me personally, because I've interviewed people I don't know, but usually I'm following for a while before I reach out. This was one of those interviews where someone reached out to me like yourself, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. So I did as much research as I could. I don't really like to do a lot. I like to kind of like find out as we're talking. But I understand that football and coaching is a big part of what you're doing, or no?
Yes, sir. A huge part.
Yeah.
So for the most part, I pretty much just dedicated my whole life to football.
Yeah.
In the sense, if it makes sense. As far as coaching football, and as far as being a trainer, a personal trainer.
Yeah. Okay. Much. So you're a personal trainer also.
Yes, sir. So
okay.
I train a bunch of kids. I've been a personal trainer since 2014, and since that time, I've trained hundreds of kids from Southern Virginia all the way up to this area.
Oh wow!
So I just pretty much, that's my way of giving back.
Yeah.
In a sense.
I'm assuming
coaching football, you got to love football to begin with. So I'm
Yes,
assuming
sir.
you watch football. You're happy now. Football season just started. I love watching football. So in this household, every Sunday, it's like football. But I'm assuming, because I don't watch college ball, but I'm assuming that you do.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a Miami Hurricanes
There you
fan.
go. Okay,
So
okay.
I watch all types of football. I watch high school football all around the country,
Yeah.
California, Texas.
Yeah.
I watch college football. I watch NFL football. So I'm pretty much all over it.
Was you getting into the
best time of year.
XFL? Was you getting into the XFL?
I didn't get into it too
Nah,
much.
I tried. Even when The Rock took it over, I tried again to kind of watch it, but I didn't really get into that. And when I used to work at FedEx, and there was a bunch of guys that I worked with, they loved talking high school football, and I always admired that because I don't know much about high school football. I don't follow it, but I do. I do love when my son would go to the games, or my daughter rather, in high school. It was cool to go to the games and be there in person and watch it live. Talk to me about your interest in deciding to coach, because I've always admired mentorship one way or another, and I feel coaching is a huge part of mentorship for the youth, especially black and brown boys right now. Can you talk to me about what it was about coaching for you that made you want to do it, or
Yeah, so how I pretty much excuse me. How I pretty much got into coaching was my first year coaching was 2014. I was about halfway through my playing career because I chased the NFL for a while
Okay.
until about age 29. So
I got
at
you.
about 25, 2014, I was about 25.
Okay.
A guy named Brian Hansen reached out to me via email about if I was interested in coaching at the high school level, varsity level at York Tech High School in York, Pennsylvania. So I thought about it over a day, and then I was like, oh yeah, I'd give it a try. So I ended up interviewing, I ended up getting the job, and almost immediately, I'm gonna say my first practice, almost immediately, I got a feeling where, let's say 100%, I got 100% satisfied from playing the game. I got about 95% of that from coaching, just from me teaching them and them trying it. It made me so happy at them seeing it. And I was like, oh, I could see myself doing this.
Yeah.
So it was kind of from there. It was like enlightening, eye-opening.
I feel like when you see that spark from training, coaching, whatever it is, teaching, when you see a spark and when you see that it clicks and you see it, it's like this. Okay, this is worth it, because that's what makes players. You know, I'm assuming I've never played football, but when you hear players give interviews and they talk, they're always talking about like the coaches that they had, certain coaches that they had that had a way of making them understand it, making things click. Lessons like that, I would assume that can cover anything in life, not just football. You're learning a lot on the field. Being a coach, you're teaching them not just football, but you're teaching them, I'm assuming, like patience. I would think
sir.
patience is a
Yes,
big part of it.
One of my favorite things about coaching is we are teaching, well, I'll say we, but more me specifically, talk about myself. I try to make it a big thing to teach life lessons.
Okay.
So I try to make it a really big deal about not giving up and trying your hardest and understanding about being a student athlete. One of the things that I say to my kids at every single practice is, remember, you're a student athlete first, and if you have good grades, then I promise you your life going to be easier just off of the fact that you buckled down and had good grades. It'll make your path a lot easier.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. Are you from York, or did you move here to coach?
I'm from Baltimore. I moved
Okay.
to York when I was 17, about, I'm gonna say 2 or 3 months before my 18th birthday. My mom moved up here,
Okay.
and I didn't go to school up this way. I was in the 11th grade, heading to my 12th grade year, and I ended up standing down in Baltimore for school pretty much because my mom was commuting to work, and she was still working in Baltimore when we first moved out here.
Okay.
So I would just catch a ride with her.
Yeah.
I was doing pretty much the impossible, just going to school every day
Oh wow.
until I graduated.
Yeah. So you play ball in high school. What position you play?
Well, the high school that I went to did not have a football team.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so my high school, my early teenage years most specifically was very rough. So I ended up having to graduate from a law type high school where they only had a basketball team. It was like they was just starting up.
Okay.
And they kind of built and progressed every year, but that school's not in existence anymore. But pretty much I had basketball through my high school career. So I played football my whole life.
Okay.
Once early teenage years, I really kind of got in the streets. Life kind of got tough for me as far as like mentally. I would say that the biggest thing for me is at that point was that was a really crucial age. I feel like that's a really crucial age for any teenager, especially males, that early teenage years, that 8th grade going to 9th grade.
Okay.
And it was like a different type of leash coming off. And when that leash came off, oh man, I was all over the place. I was doing all types of stuff I wasn't supposed to be doing. I wasn't going to school.
Okay.
And I was a really good football player. I was really athletic. So that kind of just put me in a bind where I ended up failing a year.
Okay.
And then I ended up going to the law school I was telling you about, and I ended up graduating from there, and they only had basketball.
Yeah.
So then from there, I always loved football though. I knew I could play. We used to play in the neighborhood. The neighborhood that I'm from, me and my brother, my older brother, and a couple of my god brothers, we used to pretty much, and a few guys from the neighborhood, we would go play against other neighborhoods, pretty much like 11 on 11. Yeah. So I was the young guy out there, and I used to always dominate.
Yeah.
So at cornerback, I was a corner.
Okay,
and I played receiver back then too.
Cornerback, yeah.
So I used to dominate back then at corner and receiver, and I just knew I was always good in football. So when I ended up graduating from high school, I ended up at the last second getting accepted into Morgan State University. So from there, I just kind of walked on to the football team, and shoot, I skipped the part. I got to double back.
Go ahead.
My 11th grade year, junior prom, I ended up having a daughter. So my 12th grade year, I had a daughter.
Okay.
She lives in Baltimore.
Okay.
Yeah, she's 15 now. So
that's what's up, though. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. So from there, I walked onto the team, and it was a situation pretty much far as like going to school, taking care of my kid.
Yeah.
So I ended up having to drop out, had a financial aid situation. Ultimately, it came down to that, where I ended up having to drop out. So from there, I just wanted to keep playing football. So I started trying out for all of the I started trying out for all of the pro indoor teams. I tried out for the Harrisburg Stampede.
Okay.
I tried out for the Baltimore Mariners. I even tried out, the first tryout that I actually ever went to was the Philadelphia Soul tryout closer in Chester, Pennsylvania. I drove out there and I almost made the team. It pretty much came down to me I almost made the cut. It pretty much came down to me and this big giant guy. And you could tell that he's just fresh out of college.
Yeah.
And I was fresh out of high school, so I was only like $150.
Yeah.
So I didn't let that discourage me. I kind of just kept moving from there, and I got on the weights really, really heavy that year. I started lifting weights really, really heavy. I ended up gaining about 15 to 20 pounds.
Okay.
I got a lot quicker. I refined my technique. I refined my 40-yard dash start and made my 40 time a lot quicker. And I ended up going to the Harrisburg Stampede tryout the next year, and I ended up making the team.
Okay.
So from there, I pretty much never really had to try out again. It was like a kind of just your resume, or you could use your film pretty much. And
Got you.
I ended up playing that for about 7 to 8 seasons, and I was pretty much using that to chase the NFL. The closest I ever got to the NFL when I was 26. The New York Jets reached out to me about bringing me in.
Okay.
It was pretty much, they were like, they like my film. I'm one of the players that they're interested in bringing in right now. And then it never materialized into anything. So that was the closest I ever got.
But that's cool. It's a lot closer than some other people right now. I mean, I think the cool thing is that when I'm listening to you talk is something I don't really ever think about is you always hear about the cliche college students going into the NFL, but you don't know or hear about the people that are trying out for professional teams on the back end, just trying out, trying to make the team. You hear these, these underdog stories every now and then, these walk-ons that that happened to just make it. But can you share that for me real quick? Like, is that did you come across a lot more other players that were in the same boat as you, trying to make a team out of not in school though?
I would say it was a few that I came across like me. Most guys that were on my team were pretty much guys that went to college. They either went to college or they went to a bigger college, and they just didn't get a ton of playing time.
Okay.
So I kind of took a harder path, so to speak, for myself. I definitely had to take a harder path to even like get on the same playing level as those guys, because like I told you, I didn't play high school or college ball. I just kept playing and started training myself, and pretty much just kept getting it from there and just trying to climb up the ladder. I just understood that it was a yearly grind, and it was like climbing up a ladder every year. So I was just trying to get better and progress every year and get closer and closer to I at least got a shot.
Yeah. Talk to me about that, not playing ball at all during high school, but then trying out, you said Morgan State? Okay.
Yes, sir.
How is that? Was that difficult for you, not having any experience playing in high school, but immediately trying out for college?
It was difficult, but for me, it was more like I knew I was so good at football. Like, I was one of those kids where I knew how to catch early at an early age. I was fast as crap as an early age. My older brother, he's 3 years older than me. He's a really good athlete, but until he hit puberty, I was faster than him.
Okay.
I could outrun him. So it was like until he hit puberty. So let's say 14 and I'm 11. That's kind of when he started. He could kind of like dust me off in racing. And then once I hit my puberty about 14 and he was about 17, and I was faster than him again. So it was kind of like I always could play football. So it was like football was one of the things that I knew for sure that I was good at. So it wasn't nothing that nobody could tell me about.
That's what's up,
about me just chasing my dream at it. And to dig a little deeper, it was more like football was my way out. Like you heard me say, I had a rough early teenage years.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't blame anybody else for my decisions, but I was kind of like in the gang phase. So I was I kind of like joined the gang really early. So I was making bad decisions. So that had a lot to do with my dad snatching me out of football and pretty much just letting life take its course for the most part. But I thought it was kind of like destined, if it makes sense. I was doing a lot of things, but once I really got back into playing football, it was like, all right, if you do that, you probably ain't going to be able to play. So
I was about to say, when was it for you that you decided to stop messing with the street life and focus more on football?
Well, it was pretty much, for me, it was pretty much more of a kind of like the situations that I was dealing with, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I joined so early that, and everybody that was around me, we all joined so early that it was more like we were like really, really into it. Like we were like closer than brothers. Like it was like an oath that you had to take, and it was like, man, you got to live by this. We're closer than brothers. Like it's pretty much to give you a deeper sense into it. It was more like death before dishonor type of deal. Like we as early teenagers, but we really living by that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So for me, it was more like one day I saw that it wasn't really death before dishonor. So once I kind of saw that, it was like, I'm not going to say everybody wasn't living by that, but
you were starting to see that there was some
dishonor. It wasn't every single person.
Right.
It's supposed to been, if it's 100 of us and we living by that, all 100 of us supposed to be living by that. So if 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 not living by that, that's a dynamic. That's a situation. So I kind of just, from there, I kind of just got more into football. And as I got more into football, everybody around me they already knew I was always good at football. They knew I was playing ball in my spare time. They knew I was good. So it kind of really wasn't a thing.
Yeah. That's pretty dope though. The trying out for, and I'm not one, I have a lot of confidence in the podcast, but I don't have a lot of confidence in other things in life. It's something that I've always worked on, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
But it's always like, I know when you said I always knew I could just play ball. I remember growing up and just playing ball in the neighborhood and playing with cats that were like, they loved it. They knew the game inside out, and you could just see it like they're just gonna go somewhere with this. And I always was in awe of people like that. So to not play ball at all in high school, you still had that mentality like when that opportunity comes, I'm going for it because I know I can. I know I'm good, and you did it. So that alone is that's an achievement that a lot of people can't share. I mean,
Yes,
even
sir.
though you said that you took the harder road than most, it still is a dope experience and an achievement in itself. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
sir. Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah.
I definitely agree.
You ever think about that? Like,
Yeah, for sure. I think about it all the time. I think that that path kind of made me, so to speak. Like a lot of kids that I train and I coach, they ask me about my path. They kind of pretty much, why you take that path, coach, what you think I should do? Like, I think you should do the right thing and keep your head on straight and make the opposite decision of what I made. Like,
Yeah. Are you open about your past with
Yes,
with your
very
athletes?
open. I'm very open. I tell my kids, pretty much, I had a decision to make. It was either the streets or it was school, and I picked the streets.
Yeah.
And it's a decision where I'll double back a little bit, where I said that those early teenage years are so crucial.
Yeah.
It can impact the next 15 years of your life, the next 15 to 20 years. And shoot, decisions I was making at that time, it definitely impacted my next 20 years of my life, so to speak.
Even able to get out the game is an achievement. And
definitely.
You know what I mean? Like, that's why I asked, because you're right. Like, from what I've heard and from the interviews that I've done from this podcast, from other people that were caught up in the life, it's not like something you can be like, all right, well, today I'm not with it anymore. I'm out. It's like, nah, this is it. So to be able to get out of it safely, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm assuming that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's a blessing in itself.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Shoot, pretty much for me, it was more like I joined so early, and I did so much stuff. I was kind of.
How
tripping,
old were you
man.
when you joined?
About a little 15, 16. I was pretty young. But when I really think back on my life, I kind of knew that I was going to end up joining the gang when I really think back on it.
Yeah.
Only because I'm going to say about 13, 14, maybe 12, I was doing stuff like in school, like it'd be a bunch of guys, a bunch of us, and we would be like clicking up.
Yeah.
And like coming up with names for ourselves.
Yeah.
So like when I thought back on it, I was like, dang, I was already showing
already thinking on that level.
That I was going to, about like basically baby stages of gangbanging. I was already kind of like thinking about that type of stuff. So it was like, I don't know. I went hard at it. I was the type of player. I was the type of person where whatever I do, I'm trying to be the best at it. When I was playing football, I was trying to be the best at my position in the whole country. When I was gangbanging, I was trying to be the best gangbanger ever. So it was like, whatever I'm doing, I'm coaching now. I'm trying to be the best coach ever.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much where my mindset was. So I was really into it. It was so deep to give you an understanding of it. When I saw the color red, it would make me mad. I would like be boiling. I'd be like be boiling mad, like pissed off, like ready to, like the person next to me would be like, "Yo, you all right?" Or like, "Yo, ain't nothing about to happen." Like,
yeah.
But that's just how life was. Pretty
That's
much
a
at that time
condition.
for us.
That's the way when you grow up in that environment as a young child, you're conditioned to think along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, you're already making names for the clique, not realizing I'm already thinking on these levels of gangbanging at a young age. And so I'm assuming now as a coach, when you've got your athletes underneath you, are you able to spot that in any child that might be going through similar situations of their own? Are you able to kind of spot and help, or do they come to you on their own? How does that work?
I try to be that coach where once I hear about that type of stuff, I kind of get right in front of it. Like if I hear about a kid that's involved in gangs or even on that type of mindset, I mean, I try to talk to him and just let him know, like, look, man, I was doing that.
Yeah.
I did it for a long time, and that's not where it's at. Like, I got lucky, and you probably, most likely, you not gonna get lucky. So like, just stick to these books. And like, my dad used to tell me, I mean, I didn't pay it no mind when I was gangbanging during that time when he used to say it, but when I got older, it kind of made more sense. And he used to always say, man, them kids in the gang don't care about you. And I used to be like, man, whatever, man. They was just with me and we was doing X, Y, Z, like whatever.
Yeah.
When I got older and I started thinking about it, I'm like, man, nah, we didn't really care about each other. That wasn't care.
Yeah. That's what's up, though, man. I appreciate you being candid about that, because having the ability to talk about it is a blessing.
Yeah, definitely.
And doing what you're doing now is really dope with the coaching. Let's back up. Earlier you mentioned you became a father your senior year in high school.
Yes, sir.
Can you talk to me about how that impacted your life?
Oh, man.
Becoming a father at a young age.
That was a different experience. It was a difficult type of experience too. Be truthfully, I was still a kid, so I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready at all. So it was just a tough experience. I was trying to go to college at the same time. I was trying to work, trying to make some money, and it was just rough. I use that as a part of my story when I talk to my players too. Like, I let them know that I did that, and like, yo, you don't be that guy. Don't do that. Like, you need to wait. Like, go through your life and develop your life and figure out your life before you do that. Because I mean, I can't make no excuses because that's what I did. But like I said, I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah. Well, so I don't think anybody at that age is ready to be a parent. Bro.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a young age to.
Yeah, for sure.
To become a father. Yeah, the reason why I brought that up is because becoming a parent at a young age, or regardless of what age, comes up often in the podcast, and I'm always interested. Like, when you're trying to do something. You're trying to follow a passion. In your point, you're young, but you're still kind of hip to what you want to do. And that curveball of fatherhood comes into question. It changes the trajectory of some people one way or another. And I was just curious, how that impacted.
Oh man, as far as like other people, without being too specific, it definitely impacted other people with my relationship with other people for sure. Some people understood my grind and what I was trying to do, and some people didn't. I mean, for me, it was more like I always thought about 20 years from now or 30 years from now. I wasn't thinking about the next day. When I was a kid, I was thinking about where I want my life to be in 20 years, what I need to do like right now to help my life in 20 years type of deal. So I was just trying to push and trying to grind and chase my dreams, because I didn't want to be that person that was like, man, I didn't chase my dreams. I regret it.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to be that person. So it was definitely some people who understood my passion, and it was some people that probably thought I was crazy for chasing that dream that hard. But I mean, it was my life.
They were confused as to why you were chasing your dream while becoming a father. Is that what the dynamic was? Or
yes, yes, but I knew that. For example, one of my first jobs was at McDonald's.
Yeah,
I knew I wasn't about to work at McDonald's for 20 years.
Yeah, I got you.
I knew it wasn't happening. So I knew I needed some money right then, but I also was thinking about the future. Like, what do I need to do? So I know I'm not good at a lot of stuff, but I knew I was good at football. So I was like, man, and I was gangbanging at that time real heavy.
Okay.
So I was like, man, I had the street dynamic pulling me in a whole nother direction as well, while I was pretty much trying to figure out my grades and stuff to get into college, because I got in at the last second.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really pull my grades up until about my 12th grade year. My first semester of my 12th grade year was pretty good, and they pulled me up high enough to get into Morgan State.
Gotcha. I appreciate that. Let me ask you a question. We're going back to football right now. You said you follow college ball.
Yes, sir.
I don't follow it a lot, but I follow somewhat enough. Obviously, the storylines right now surrounding Deion Sanders' prime.
Yes, sir.
What's your take on how the media is embracing the change of culture that he brings as a head coach. One and two. Damn, forgive me. I just had a brain fart. I forgot what the hell I was going to say. It was something in regards to Prime. Anyway, let's just start there. Okay. Originally, and I can't forget I'm forgetting the name of the HBCU that he was coaching originally before he came to Colorado.
Jackson State.
Him putting him coaching there and then leaving, he got a lot of backlash. I'm not like I said, I'm not too savvy with the ins and outs of it, but I've always been a believer that if you're doing what you can do in a positive way, one way or another, however you get your money is how you get your money. I don't feel like he is changing who he is, and I feel like he seems to have a positive influence on players that he coaches.
Definitely.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like Deion is a different type of coach. He was a different type of player. He's a different type of person, and the type of player he was is coming out as a coach. And most people love Deion as a player, and most people are gonna love him as a coach.
Yeah.
And as a coach, especially a college coach, a D1 coach, a head coach, ultimately it comes down to wins. So, me personally, I feel like Deion's winning right now. If he keeps on winning, there's nothing to worry about. If he start losing, then most people going to start talking crazy, and some people might turn their backs on him. But for the most part, I think as long as Deion keep on winning, he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
I like what Deion's doing over there. I like how I like that he earned the right to take that bigger opportunity. If it makes sense. Like, that's the name of the game. That's why that's why people work. You work to advance. He pretty much just advanced in his career.
Yeah.
Pretty much to a bigger job, a bigger facility, a higher league, more money. I mean, that's the goal. I don't understand most of the backlash. I mean, nobody's perfect, but I don't understand most of the backlash.
Yeah, my confusion was when he became the head coach of Jackson. Was it Jackson State or
Jackson State?
Jackson State. And it was almost as if he was supposed to stay there. Like he owed the HBCU experience. He owed that, and I was always like, but aren't you supposed to like build? We're supposed to build each other up and be like, thank you for what you've done here, because he did a lot.
Yeah, he left it in a better place than what it was when he got there, for sure.
Right, and it's almost like I'm always tripping over that, because my thing is like, are we talking about Prime this way because it's a black coach doing it the way he's doing it, as opposed to you see a lot of these white coaches that do and coach how they coach and bounce around. As an outsider of the game, again, I go back to that because I'm not going to act like I know what I'm seeing or what I'm talking about, because I don't. But from what I see, it's almost like, damn, man, like, why can't you just let somebody like Deion Sanders do what he does, and then let him level up, and he'll show you again why he was just as good in Jackson State as he's going to be right now in Colorado. Another thing that I do like about Prime, and I'm a Niners fan, so I remember when he played for the Niners, even though he played for Atlanta, I know, and Dallas, but he played for the Niners for a little bit. Mm-hmm. He has that old school mentality that I appreciate. I'm 45. I'll be 45 in April. So when I was watching him on TV a couple weeks ago, grilling his players the way that he was, I was like, I feel like that's the kind of structure that's important in a child's life. Now, my question to you is, as a coach, do you see different techniques to get the message across to your children, to your players, or do you find that when it comes to this type of sport and its physicality, you have to have that? You got to have that dog in you as a coach.
Every kid is different, so I take a different type of approach to that. First thing, I'll come off, let's say it's the first practice, I'm not letting anything slide. I'm going to be harsh. I'm going to be on them. I'm going to level them up. I'm going to show them love, but I'm going to be hard, and I'm going to be on them. And then from there, I kind of see who can take it, who can take the hard love like that. Like, let's say I got kid A and I got kid B, and I give both of them that tough love from the beginning. If kid A showed me he could take that tough love and that coaching, then I can keep giving it to him. I know I can keep giving it to him at that level, and that'll help him improve. If kid B can't take that hard coaching like that, he start breaking down or his head down or he start crying or something, then I know I got to tone it down a little bit, and I know I gotta figure out how to pretty much get inside his head a different type of way. So every player is different. That's one of my favorite things about being a coach. You have to understand that every single player is different. You have to figure out how to make that player go, pretty much how they tick, what makes them go, and you pretty much go from there. That's the only way you can get through to every single player like that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I wasn't expecting that. I guess my way of looking at it was like, you see a lot of the coach is going to coach this way, and if kid B breaks down, then kid B is I ain't got time for you. Right. But what you're saying is,
yes, but you
have to adapt.
Yes, because kid B might turn into something. Kid B might be something. He might just needed that. He might have just needed you to explain it to him in a different way.
Yeah.
Where the hard stuff would have broke him down, and then he'd have been like, "No, coach, I don't want to ask now." Where he kind of told me that he don't respond well to that. So I just me being the type of coach I am, I need to pay attention and take heed to that, so I can get everything out of that kid and make him better.
Yeah. I played when I was in 5th and 6th grade, somewhere around there. I played midget. We called it midget league football when I was.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if that's politically
it's still
correct
a thing.
now.
It's still a thing. I coach midgets right now.
Yeah. And I was, I think when I look back now, I was doing that because I thought it was expected of me. I loved playing it, but it was never something I really was passionate about.
Yes.
And I remember being spoken to a certain way and being like, wow, why can't you just calm down and explain it to me? You know what I'm saying? Because I was a kid, but I also understand now, looking back, that it was a catch-22 for me, where I felt like, or a double-edged sword, where even though it kind of burned me, it also taught me. There was a lot of things I learned from the coaches. And even as I got older and I would see the coaches around the way here and there, I'd be like, yeah, how you doing? Like, I had respect for them.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I tip my hat to, again, I brought that up earlier, like, coaching it's not easy, but it's if you're doing it right, you'll be an instrumental part in someone's life.
Yeah, definitely.
For the rest of their life.
Players will love you forever.
Oh, yeah.
I still see players from my first year coaching in 2014, and they're adults now. They're grown men. I see some of those guys in the city now, like nowadays, and it's all love.
What's that like for you when you see them?
It's a real good feeling.
Yeah.
It make me feel old. But it make me feel happy that I impacted them and that they remember me. I left a good impression on them, and I told them a bunch of stuff that shoot, almost 10 years later down the line, they could be like, yo, coach, you was my favorite coach. You and coach such and such was my favorite coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real good feeling.
What do you have any memories of, like, do you have a memory of a favorite player of yours that you coached, or one of the worst players that you ever coached? Do you have anything like that? Do you harbor anything like that, or do you kind of let it go and not let it
I always, well, kind of like most coaches, I always remember my great players. Like, because I coached so many kids pretty much over the last 10 years, from Southern Virginia all the way up to Pennsylvania. I coached so many different kids. So the ones that stick out to me the most are pretty much like my star players. The ones that I end up giving the most responsibility to. They seem to dig a little deeper. I'm the type of coach where I'm going to say force. I kind of force my best players to be captains. I force it on them, then I teach them how to go about it. Like, make it their responsibility. And if my best players can learn how to lead, then it'll take the team up so many levels. And that's pretty much the fastest way to go about it. So, I'm a big believer in that, a big believer.
You said you coached from South Virginia?
Yes, sir. I coached in Southern Virginia.
Southern Virginia.
Yes, sir.
How'd that come about? Because you're from Baltimore, so were you looking for coaching jobs and happened to find something in South?
I was
Virginia?
moving around, so
okay.
At that time, I have 3 kids now.
Okay.
So I told you my oldest daughter is 15.
Yeah.
I have a 7-year-old son and a 6-year-old daughter.
Okay.
So my 6-year-old daughter wasn't born at the time, and my girlfriend was pregnant with my 7-year-old son at the time.
Gotcha.
And she ended up going to Norfolk State down in Norfolk in Southern Virginia.
Yeah.
So after I coached my first year coaching ever up here in 2014, I went down there with her.
Okay.
So I could put a birth for my son and the whole 9. So I stayed down there. I coached down there for 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Then after she graduated, we moved back up this way.
Okay. So
Kinda been up here
you're
since.
experiencing youth from different areas,
Yes.
different states and different areas. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Youth and high school. Down Virginia, I just coached high school. But up in Pennsylvania, I coached youth and high school.
When you say youth, you talk about like what I was
Like
mentioning.
smaller kids,
the
yes,
small
sir.
kids. Okay.
Yep, like midgets, like
Yeah.
11 and 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
I mainly, for the most part, I try to take the oldest kids.
Okay,
Out
yeah, I
of
was
the
about to
youngest
say,
ones.
what's that like when you have to change your mindset when you approach younger children when they're playing
Yes, yes. I pretty much just try to let them know that I have college coaching experience and high school coaching experience, and I try to give them an idea of what it's going to be like and what's to be expected and how you need to move and what you should be thinking about and stuff like that. Try to pretty much just let them know if they're on the right path.
Yeah.
Ask them what they want
Okay.
out of their football career.
That's
and
pretty
then
cool.
How to go about it.
My son, when he went he wanted to play football, and I didn't let him because I was concerned safety wise. I was concerned, but sometimes I wonder, like, man, like, did I make the right decision? The reason I bring that up is because you said you coach younger children. Is there ever a time that you're dealing with a parent that's concerned about the safety of your children, or is it the culture of the people? Is it always football related? They don't think about anything else but football. You see what I'm saying?
Yes,
Like,
it depends on the I don't want to say the neighborhood. It depends on the area.
Yeah,
It
I was
depends,
about to say,
some
yeah.
areas are more hardcore with football than others. One of the biggest things that I learned about coaching over the last years is parents. Like,
Yeah.
parents most parents aren't. All right, I'll say it this way: football is the ultimate team sport.
Yeah.
So it's unlike any other sport because one person could be having the best game of his life and your team still can lose.
Yeah.
The best game I ever had in my life, my team lost. The best 2 games I ever had in my life, my team lost. One game I had like 6 interceptions and we lost. Another game I had like 4 interceptions and we lost.
Gotcha.
So it's just using that as an example. Football is ultimate team sport. So it's like, it's not an individual sport. So when it comes to parents, most parents, I won't say all parents, when it comes to most parents, it's like they are more worried about their own kid instead of the whole team. And you have to be worried about the whole team because it's the ultimate team sport.
Yeah.
It's not like that individual sport. Like, it's not like tennis or something where it's
Yeah.
on one person to do everything. Like, you could do your job perfectly every single play, but if it's not in unison with the other 10 players, then it's going to be an unsuccessful play.
Right.
So it's like most parents don't keep that in mind when it comes to youth football. Like, they just want to see their kid play. And
Okay, I got you.
some people want to live through their kid. And
Oh yeah, I never thought
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
let's say you got 2 different type of examples of that, 2 different type of scenarios of that. You got one where, let's say the dad was a super good athlete. He was a really good player. His son might be an okay athlete. He gonna be pushing it. He gonna do whatever he can. He might coach. He might join the staff.
Gotcha.
He gonna do whatever he need
Yeah.
to do to get his son that play time to try to make his son like he was.
Yeah.
And then you got guys that wasn't that good, and then when they were playing, and then their son might be a little decent, better than them, so they'll go hard. And it's about the team. Like,
Yeah.
it's about the team. It's about practice. That's a big coaching point for me. Practice. If I can't depend on a player, I can't really put you on the field. If we talking about offensive linemen, the ones that block for the quarterbacks and the running backs, if I can't depend on you to make your block on XYZ play, then I can't put you in.
Yeah.
I can't trust you to do your job. Somebody's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's something against that kid. It's not like I don't love that kid. I love every kid that I ever coached.
No, I dig it. Yeah.
Every single one of them. So it's like, it's not like I don't like or love that kid. It's just the dynamic of the situation. I can't get another kid hurt because I was the one that called that play and put that kid in there for the block for this kid.
That's that tough love that you were talking about.
Yes.
Though. And that's something that's every child, I feel, needs that. That's imperative. You need to experience tough love because, and I tell my kids this all the time. I'm like, I know you think I'm getting on you about this, that, and the third, and I know it sounds like I am, but trust me, I'm digging in your ass right now because when you move out on your own, the world's gonna do this and not care how you feel.
Very true.
And I need you to be able to know when you're being held accountable and it's not personal. You see what I'm saying?
Definitely. I have players all the time where they not listening to their parents. Or it'll be where they not really listening that good at home, but they'll come to practice and their parents be like, man, he listens more to you than he listens to us at home. So when I catch those kind of situations, like, for example, let's say your son played for me and he was acting up and you told me about it, I would grab him up and I would bring him right to you and I'd be like, look, how old are you, son? Let's say I call him my player son.
Yeah.
And every single one I ever coached, I call him son. So let's say your kid is 12. I'm asking how old he is. He gonna say, I'm 12. I'm gonna be like, how old you gonna be next year? He gonna say 13. I'm gonna be like, how old you gonna be the next year? He gonna say 14. I'm gonna say, how old you gonna be the next year? He gonna say 15. Then I'm gonna be like, look at your dad. He was already every age that you was, every age that you gonna be. He just trying to make your life easier. Like, just listen.
Yeah.
He trying to make your life easier.
Yeah.
And your life gonna be easier if you just listen and take the advice. And most times, because most parents, especially, I won't say especially dads, but most parents overall is not trying to tell their kids anything crazy. They're trying to make their life a lot easier.
Right. And I can appreciate that because I guess sometimes that's needed. The when you said the parent tells you, well, they listen to you more than they listen to me, you're taking that opportunity then to do something that's beneficial for the child, even if they may not like it, as opposed to being like, well, I mean, I'm sorry to hear that, but that's your problem. I got a team to coach. You know what I mean? Like you're aware of how one hand washes the other, so to speak, and how his influence, how can I say this? His attitude at home influences his team, whether he sees it indirectly or not. And I feel like as a coach, it's imperative that a coach recognizes that.
Yes.
And I that's what I'm picking up, what you're putting down.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I like that.
I try to, truthfully, I'm just trying to be the person / coach / trainer that I wish I had when I was a certain age, the one that I needed when I was at that early teenage stage.
Yeah.
So that would have made my life easier. Stuff I'm starting to figure out now. I would have figured out, I already knew it and had it down packed by this age.
Yeah, I feel like that's like with everything though, man. It's like when you get older as men, you see young men doing things, and there's like that. Come here, kid. Let me tell you something. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like that. It's just like that. I want to see you. I don't want to see you do that because I went through this. I know what's happening. I know what's going to happen, and I don't want to see that for you. It's like you wish you had that when you were younger. That's across the board with anything in life, not just football, but just like anytime you see somebody doing something that you went through as a young man and an older man, there's that bonding, whether men want to admit that or not. I feel like it's always there as men. You're always
for sure.
Yeah. When I see
definitely.
young guys, I'm just like, yo, man, knock it off. Like I'm seeing you and I see me when I was your age. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
One of my things for me is I don't like hearing young kids cursing, man. I cannot stand hearing young kids cursing. So it could be some kids I don't even know.
Okay.
I'm not even going to lie to you. I don't even care how they respond. If I hear some kids cursing, I could be walking down the street. If I hear, they could be some teenagers. If I hear them cursing, I'm going to say something to them. Yo, watch your mouth. Yeah? Y'all not old enough to be talking like that. I don't even care how they respond. They need to hear that.
Yeah.
Yo, watch your mouth, man. You still a kid. Like,
yeah. Yeah, it's dope, man.
I wish I was still a kid.
You know, one of the things that I tell people this all the time. It's like, man, I wish I was a kid. There's a lot that I wish I could relearn because I think I'd go about it differently. But of course, I would go about it differently because hindsight's 2020.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? So like now, yeah, I'm looking at it differently. But yeah, like you wish you had that opportunity to just absorb that fresh new information again
Yes.
and absorb it differently. But that's life. Like if you can recognize that, then you're still you're benefiting from your experience. It's still low hanging fruit in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
You see what I'm saying?
If
like
you understand it, it's progress.
Yeah.
I kind of use that when I'm training. Like if a kid, like let's say I'm teaching a kid a new technique, and it's all about muscle memory. I try to tell a lot of people that I train, if you could do it slow 5 times, then you're gonna be able to pick it up just off of muscle memory. You're gonna be able to do it faster. So I pretty much just try to stick to that type of mindset.
Yeah. You say do it slow. You mean like literally?
Yes, like repeat it, like repetitions.
Okay,
like,
yeah,
go
gotcha.
through it 5 times slow. Let's say it's a movement that's you supposed to perform it fast. Perform it slow 5 times in a row. And then you'll start to pick it up. And
Gotcha.
then try it fast again and watch how much better you do it. Or try it a bunch of times at doing it 5 times and then come back to it the next day or 2 days later and watch how much better you be at it naturally just because of muscle memory.
Yeah. What's your during the off season when you're coaching and it's the off season? Are you still actively thinking along the lines of like a coach? Are you planning for the next season? Do you have any downtime in between the seasons? Like how does that work as a coach? Because in my mind, I'm feeling like coaches are constantly working.
Oh yes, I am very busy. I do a lot of coaching football. I coach youth football in the spring.
Okay.
I coach youth and high school football in the fall. And then I'm a full-time college student right now. Plus I still have my children at home.
Okay.
So I'm busy. But like one of my uncles told me when I was younger, he said busy is good and do all this stuff while you still young and have the energy to do it. Do all of it.
So you're a full-time college student.
Yes, sir.
Oh man, well that's dope, man. So what are you going to college for?
Business administration. I'm trying to get my bachelor's in business administration. I want to be a athletic director one day.
Okay. I was about to say one of the things I like to ask is what are you looking at and doing in the future? Is it going to be coaching or you're looking to transition it?
Yes,
like?
I still want to coach. I want to be a athletic director and coach high school football. I'll probably coach youth football for a few more years. Truthfully, my youngest daughter, is athletic.
Okay.
So she likes to run and jump and catch. So as she gets a little bit older and it's time for her to get into sports, she'll get all of my energy that I've been giving in youth sports these past couple years. But my main goal is to be an athletic director, high school athletic director, and coach high school football.
Okay. So when it comes down to it, just sports, athleticism, that is your life.
Yes, sir.
And one way or another, depending on what you're doing, it involves sports.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes. Like I said earlier, I literally dedicated my whole life to football. It's football 24/7. Training is football training. Most of my training, 75% of the training I do is football training. Like I have clients that's there for weight loss. I have clients that's there to build muscle. I have clients that want to get faster, jump higher.
Yeah.
But most of it is football related. And shoot, that's my passion. I'm just chasing my dreams.
That's what's up, man. That's different types of people. You're talking to different types of people. You're dealing with and working with different types of people. You just mentioned 3 different goals that 3 different people have. It's your job to navigate and deliver all 3 people.
Yes, sir.
But that comes easy for you. Just the mindset of
just
I can do that.
it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Just understanding it and being active at it for so long. I just kind of got a deeper understanding of it, and then after a while, it kind of becomes second nature, and then you just have to keep digging and keep learning. Just keep trying to get better.
That's what's up, man.
Like that's one of my main things. I'm just trying to get better. Like I'm just trying to get better every single day.
Well,
Literally.
it sounds like you are, though. I mean,
definitely.
considering what you've been telling me, considering what you told me where you were and where you are now, like that 180, it sounds like you're doing way better, and every day it seems like you're improving something. Well, like you mentioned that earlier, if you want to do something, you want to do it the best.
Yes, sir.
So that, to me, I'm seeing that right now. You mentioned college. Was it? I'm sorry, forgive me. Athletic director or
Yes,
okay.
athletic director, high school. Yep, I want to be a high school athletic director as soon as I graduate.
Okay.
In the next couple of years. So I kind of got my plan mapped out. It's just sticking to it pretty much. I had to. I pretty much learned that it's not enough hours in the day. So my adjustment to that was just pretty much just going to sleep about 10:30 every day and getting up about 4:30 every day.
There you go.
So I can attack my day and get after it, work out, meditate, the whole nine, and get my day started.
Okay, you meditate?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's what's
yes, sir. I meditate every morning. One of the first things I do when I get up.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Are you able to stay to a strict schedule? Like, are you disciplined enough to honor that waking up early at this time every day?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I actually I started college back in the summer. So I started, my first day of school was about, I believe, June 15th. So
okay.
I started about 2 or 3 days before that. I started waking up early just to get myself used to it. And honestly, it was really, really tough that first week because it was like, man, I was still really, really tired and I still had to refocus and still understand how to get my mindset back into college because it'd been 15 years since I went to college.
Yeah.
So I had to like that first week was really, really rough of it. But, you know, it takes about 3 weeks to build a new habit. So after about the third week, I was kind of like used to it.
Okay. When you're going back to college, you got a whole new wave, a whole new generation of kids.
Yes.
That you're going to school with. What was that for you? Did you handle that like you've been handling everything else, where it was like, I'm gonna take care of it, or did you deal with that? I'm in school with kids that are 15 years younger than me. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right. Shoot, I'm the type of person where if I have time to prepare my mind for it, then I'm gonna be all right. So I can get through it if I have time to.
Okay.
Like, look, this is what is ahead of me, and look, you got time to adjust to it, and I'm kind of good from there. Once I got my time and I set my mind. Once the time come, I'm able to dig right in.
That's what's up, man.
Now, my issue would be a little harder for me. I'm bad with last-minute changes because I need to prepare. Like,
I'm the same way.
I over-prepare most times, but I need to over-prepare for me to function the way I function.
I actually have, like, my OCD is pretty bad where if there's last-minute changes, it throws me off.
Yes.
And I'm
same
like,
way.
don't
Same
do
way.
that to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's one of the most aggravating and irritating things in the world. A last-minute change. I prepared too hard already for X.
Yeah. Well, I feel like, listening to you talk with how passionate you are about coaching, I feel like that makes sense, though, because I would feel like as a coach, you need to have a very structured and disciplined mindset and approach to things. Otherwise, if there's no structure, then what you're trying to coach falls apart. And so if you have that mindset with coaching, it's going to blend in with everything else in your life, where it's kind of like I don't want to say so much like a militant way, but they're kind of similar, where it's like my mind is built this way. Everything else in my life will be structured as such. And if you're going to change things last minute, that's going to throw me off.
Yes,
because I like things like that. That's how I am anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I lined it up that way so I could go about it smoothly.
Yeah.
Because I need things to have a smooth execution. And shoot, if it's lined up, then I can have that.
Well, sometimes life does throw you those curveballs and those last minute changes. How do you, even though you don't like it, how are you handling it? How do you try to best approach a last minute change?
Shoot, I just pretty much, I try to think about if there's another way to go about it. And if there's not another way that can go about it that's better, then I just pretty much just gotta suck it up. Suck it up, pull my big boy pants up and just
I have
get
my
to
moments.
it.
I have my moments where I kind of
likewise.
I gotta walk away.
Yeah, likewise.
I gotta walk away because I'm a little hot right now.
Take a walk for sure.
Yeah. You mentioned meditation. So are you a believer in spirituality at all, or is that separate for you?
Yes. So when I meditate to frequencies.
Okay, word.
So
yeah.
it's different frequencies that affect your mood. So most times, me personally, I meditate for enlightenment. So I need to learn, to dig deeper, pretty much. And I meditate for like prosperity and stuff like that. But it's a multitude of reasons that one can meditate. As far as like if you're happy, you sad, you depressed, that's like the smaller basic levels. But enlightenment is like really high on the frequency scale. So I kind of just attack it from that standpoint, just so I can learn more. Like I need to just be enlightened about everything around me. And I just read. I don't go to church much, but I do believe in the Lord. So I pretty much I just dig a little deeper. I don't read the newer Bibles as much. I'm more like a guy where I like to read like the first Bible that was made, like that King James version.
Yeah.
Like I'm that type of guy where I need to dig in and translate it from there, because as you know, the Bible got switched so many different times.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And we know this world is crazy. People trying to trick people. And I believe that everybody should have their own understanding. Like you should be able to understand it enough where you can interpret it for yourself. Yeah. So that's where I'm kind of at with it. I believe what I believe, and I read and I study, and I kind of just go about it like that.
When you say frequencies and you say enlightenment, what is it like? Can you explain exactly what it is you mean? Like, are you listening to a frequency? Are you in silence, focusing on enlightenment? Like, how do you go about doing it?
You listen to a frequency that's really, really high. It's a really, really high frequency, and you listening to it. And while you listening to it, there's a couple ways you can go about it. You can sit there, close your eyes, and pretty much just be still. Or you can go about your day, and you can go about pretty much your task or what you're doing at the moment. Like me, I'm the type where one of the first things I do in the morning while I'm meditating actually is I go over word search puzzles.
Oh, word.
So I do a word search puzzle while I'm meditating, so I can open up my brain. Then after that, I can get to my college work after that. Yeah. My mind's already open. So it's another way of altering your state of mind. So I kind of like do a lot of that type of stuff that help me keep my mind in a positive light.
That's
so I can do what I need to do.
I never thought of doing stuff while listening to frequencies. I'm aware of it. I got hip to it like a year ago, where I was learning like there are certain frequencies where your brain naturally will it adapts and you're able to absorb information.
Yes.
Like certain decibels and whatnot.
Yes, sir.
And but I always went about it like I should be silent, but I never thought about doing that while working or doing something being in that frequency. But it makes a lot of sense, because even while I'm setting up this podcast, I have I listen to music, but I can't listen to certain music. I have to listen to, or I can't listen to any kind of music. I need to listen to a certain type. I have a playlist that puts me in the mood. And I was explaining it to my kids and my wife. I'm like, really, it's not so much the genre or the style of music. It's there's a pitch, there's a frequency that I'm resonating with, and when my body fits in there, it's like a tunnel, and I'm gone. I can focus. Don't pull me out of that. You know what I mean?
Yes, it's like you naturally operating on a higher frequency, and you understand that to a certain point where you're just not going to let nothing bring you down. And most music, especially nowadays, is operating on that lower frequency. So you kind of can't listen to most. I don't listen to most of this music nowadays. I kind of listen to a few select rappers.
Well, I know. Really like, there's a lot of producers. Like, I don't know them by name, but I remember reading or hearing about the really good music composers and producers from any genre. They're hip to that.
Yes,
and they know how to incorporate the good music that they're making has these frequencies in it. So I appreciate that, man, because like I'm eager now to kind of, I know like when I listen to Spotify, they have playlists that are just frequency
Yes, sir.
only. So where are you getting? Do you have your own type of personal collection of music?
Yes. Shoot, for anybody who was looking for frequencies, you can find them on YouTube.
Yeah.
You can kind of just got to do your research so you can understand the different frequencies, so you can understand what's good for you. Like,
Yeah, because there's different frequencies for depending on what it is you're trying to meditate.
You might
on.
be sad, or somebody might be depressed. They lower frequencies, but it's a frequency you can listen to if you just sad. No matter what you do, you just said it's a frequency you can listen to for about 30 minutes, and you're gonna be out of that.
Okay,
if you depressed, it's a frequency you can listen to for about 30 minutes, and you won't even be feeling depressed anymore.
How long have you been aware of that? Like, how long have you been doing that in your life?
I got into it. About the last year or so. November will be about a year where I've been at it constantly for a year. And the first time I did it, I felt different. I was like, wow, my mind just felt like it was open. Like I could just see clearer, if it makes sense. I could think a little deeper, and I just immediately felt the impact.
And you've noticed a difference?
Yes, I feel way more. I've been able to, as far as enlightenment, I'm able to connect dots that I wouldn't have been able to connect a year ago, and a whole lot of different things. Should I even use it with my children? When I'm getting ready for school in the morning, I turn on a high frequency where pretty much one that will help them unlock their brain, and try to use 100% of your brain. So I'm like on that type of stuff. Even with my kids, I make them listen to it while they eating their breakfast and while they getting dressed.
They're used to it. Do they ever question like, why are you playing this, Dad? No?
They kind of just be doing what they doing.
Yeah.
Most times my son will just sit there.
I bet you they don't even notice that it's on though, because you get used to it.
Yeah,
you don't even really notice that it's there. But that's dope, man. I appreciate that. That was a part of this conversation I wasn't expecting, but I'm grateful for it. Thank you, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very welcome.
One of the things that I like to do. This is my third season with the podcast, and the first two seasons I would always end the conversation with, let's talk about what you want to do. What's your game plan for the next 5 to 10 years? But you've already kind of done that, A. And B, what I wanted to do this year was kind of like ask a question. Considering everything we talked about, I want to ask a question to get your opinion on something.
Yes, sir.
When we talk about, and this has been going on for some time, the money in college sports, football,
rather,
players being compensated, how they're changing that so that they have changed it in some regards so that players can get compensated. What is your opinion on that? Do you have an opinion one way or another in regards to that?
Yes, I love it, and the reason why I love it is because those colleges, especially those Division I colleges, they make so many
money.
Millions per year off of those student athletes. And before the NIL, those kids wasn't getting any money. And I guess they was getting stipends, but it was barely enough to cover the stuff that they needed. So I'm all for these kids making these buku amounts of money, because they was making this a share of the money that they was making for the colleges anyway.
Yeah.
So
no,
I'm all for it.
I agree with you. I feel like it was a no-brainer. I didn't know the ins and outs, like I've alluded to already, but it was enough for me to be like, well, that makes sense.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, video games, especially, like I don't know if they make if EA Sports makes any college games anymore, but
got to pay those guys.
You got to pay them and their likeness and whatever. And I remember when I went to college one year, I went to Edinburgh University up towards Erie, mad cold. And there was two brothers on my floor that they were a couple years ahead of me. They came from I want to say it was Indiana. Bobby Knight was their coach. Okay. They played ball, and EA Sports had a college game out a year or two before. One of them was named Dorian. I'll never forget it. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm in the game," and he puts it in my PlayStation. And now his name ain't on it. You know what I mean?
But he knows him.
But he knows it's him.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like
it's the years, his number, his height,
his
weight.
stats, you know what I mean? And it's like He's like, yeah, no, that's me. And I'm like, how's that feel? And he was just like, I remember being confused. He was just like, But now when I look back, he's probably like, because it ain't like he sees any money from that. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem with student athletes being compensated for for anything involving this sport where it's already making mad money.
I agree. Now, I did when I thought a little deeper into it, I thought about a potential problem, like maybe let's say a kid in high school, he makes a quarterback, because quarterbacks most likely going to make the most money from the NIL deals. So let's say a young quarterback makes $10 million in NIL money during his high school career, and then he could be like, man, what I need to go to college for? I made $10 million.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
Or let's say a college kid that he knew that football was his way out. He put everything into making it to the NFL, and then he get to college and he make $15 million off an NIL deal. That kid might be like, man, I'm not worried about going to the NFL no more. I'm not even going to try as hard because.
And they're trying to get kids that come through college into the NFL.
Yes.
That's the game
right.
on the owners and the colleges. Mm-hmm. I'm sure they communicate in that regard. They don't want students to be like, I don't think I'm going to go into the league
because it's a pipeline that's helping them make money.
Right.
It's kind of like, that's tough where you kind of got to go to college for them couple years, because you basically a guaranteed paycheck for that college for those years. They're making a lot of money off of those players, a lot of money. So I'm happy for them.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate this conversation, man. Good luck, man. I don't think you need it, because you seem to have a mindset where your goals, you're achieving them. And thank you for what you're doing, coaching the youth and being a mentor and a coach. And
appreciate it.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate the conversation that we just had. I'm literally tonight going to go get hip to this frequency.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Because
yes,
I vibe with that. You mentioned that I don't go to church as often as I should either. And my wife and I, like, we try and we play this game, like we try. But I am a believer. Like I'm a believer, in Jesus Christ, and I'm a believer that there's something that I can't explain. It's there, and I just try to make sure I leave good karma, because
yes,
I believe
sir.
in that as well.
Yes, sir.
But people's energy and people's frequency, I really, really believe in that, and so
I agree. Yes, I'm that same type of way. So I definitely appreciate you having me on. I super appreciate it.
Yeah.
One quick thing, you mentioned Erie. You said
Erie, yeah. I went to Edinburgh, up towards Erie, yeah.
Okay. Quick little interesting story. It was about my third year playing pro indoor football, and I was living in York, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
My mom drove me to a tryout in Erie.
Okay.
So that's about 6 hours away from here.
Yeah.
So we ended up leaving the tryout was at like 10 in the morning. Mm-hmm. So we ended up leaving at like 3 a.m. It's dark outside.
Yeah.
My mom drive me the whole 6 hours to the tryout. I ball out at the tryout. I ran a 4.4 flat. I got 3 interceptions. I got a one-hand interception on like the 6'4" receiver.
Yeah.
And they didn't sign me. They signed the big receiver, but they didn't sign me.
Why do you think that is? Like, you ball out the way you do. You couldn't have done anything better. What more could they have? What more could you have done? Like, at what point are you like, do you get discouraged when you have those type of experiences? Like, I literally did the best I could do. I wasn't even think I was going to do that good. I balled out.
Yes. Those times are very discouraging, but I kind of like, I'm a very optimistic person. I believe in always staying optimistic no matter what, or just trying to find the good in the situation, just looking at the glass. I mean, the glass is half full, half empty, just thinking like that pretty much.
Yeah.
So I look at it as not like, damn, they overlooked me. I'm like, man, I did what I thought I was gonna do. I balled out.
I got you.
Like,
I got
it
you.
gave me more motivation to try again. Cause I'm like, man, I killed that, man. I don't even.
And you was all the way in Erie. There's nothing there.
Yes. But I drove. It was dark when we left. And when we got back home, it was dark. So we gave the whole day to that trip, the whole day to that, trying to make that happen.
Yeah, man, that's you're right. 6 hours. I remember driving because I had a car, and I took it there with me, and it was 5 hours for me because Erie was past Edinburgh, maybe like another half hour or so, and it was just in the middle of nowhere. Cold, because I'm telling you,
it was
cold. It snowed from October to April.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and it was like, we're in the middle of nowhere. Like literally, the only like fun that you could have was like in this small town of Edinburgh, which was a university town. There was nothing else around it.
Right.
So it was just like you're constantly seeing the same people. I went there for 1 year and I dropped out, but yeah, man, I know what you mean. That's a 6 hour drive, man. Yeah,
definitely.
All right, brother. Well, this is it. This is the end of the conversation. I appreciate you. Thank you very much, man.
Likewise. I appreciate you bringing me on anytime.
All right, man.